State of Emergency is a 2011 horror thriller from director Turner Clay. The movie opens the way a lot of movies do lately. At a pivotal point further into the story, some folks are locked in a building while something is trying to get in. It's zombies. Cut to 4 days earlier, the beginning of the zombie apocalypse that we don't get to see. Jim and his fiancée Emily were in a car accident and she doesn't make it. Oh no, one zombie and he's in his bathrobe. Or maybe he's just a neighbor out for a walk. Jim makes his way to an abandoned stable where he stashes Emily's body. He finds a TV and switches to the Exposition channel. The news explains there was some sort of explosion and all hell's breaking loose. I don't think they let us know enough times where this was taking place.
Montgomery County, Montgomery County, Montgomery County.
We're running out of stock footage. What should we do? Quick, shoot the reporter! Jim wanders around and finds a room with everything he needs. Hey, don't you think maybe you should bury your wife? Nah, it's nap time. He hears helicopters overhead, so what does he do? He drops the lamp and tries to signal them. I don't know why they can't see me. Boy, I sure wish I had some sort of bright object that could get their attention. The next day, he takes some boards to the roof to make a help sign. He sees a zombie, so he rushes back inside, but doesn't lock the door. If this was Project Zomboid, he would have had to restart 3 times already. He wakes up to the noise of the door that he left unlocked banging around. Something might have come in while the door was unlocked. Should I search the building? Nah. What was that? Probably nothing. Will you just go investigate? He could have turned on the lights this whole time? Hi, honey. Sorry you're attracting flies. I'll bury you tomorrow. He makes his way to the end of the hall, but it's a cat. He notices some footprints that weren't there a minute ago. So the zombie walked behind him and hid in a room so it could jump out and surprise him? Those darn zombies. He drops the gun and runs away. He doubles back around and manages to kill the zombie. Just then the phone rings.
Hello?
The call's coming from some people in a warehouse not too far away. They ask him if he wants to join them because it's safer there. Jim takes some supplies and heads to the warehouse. He meets Scott, his wife Julie, and Six. So this is what happened to her after Blossom. Oh, wait a minute, it's not 6, it's Ix. I thought it was 9. Scott shows him the downstairs area where they sleep, and the upstairs, which is the safest place in the building. So why don't you sleep up there? Remember when I signaled you by shining lights through the windows?
You see us? Got no windows, so we can keep the lights on as long as we want.
They offer him some food in unlabeled cans. Could be peaches, could be creamed corn. Most likely it's beans. The apocalypse always seems to have plenty of beans for some reason. Go ahead, Jim, eat all the food, why don't you?
It's okay. We have plenty to go around.
They don't know how long this is gonna last. Besides, didn't he say?
We got plenty of food and water. Should last us at least a week or so.
How about rationing the supplies just to be safe? He goes to sleep and has a dream about the day of the outbreak. What's wrong with his head? Oh shit, T-Rex! He sees one of the undead and wakes up. He can't sleep, so he wanders around the warehouse. The zombies just kind of stand around all the time. It's like they're posing for an album cover of an emo band. Scott tells Jim how he ended up at the warehouse. The day of the chemical factory explosion, he went to see if his neighbor was alright.
And I saw something I'll never forget.
Whatever it was, let's pause for dramatic effect.
What was he doing when you found him?
Eating his wife.
Jim and Scott are searching the warehouse looking for supplies. Jim goes to introduce himself to Ix.
We haven't been introduced. I'm Jim.
Do I look like I give a shit?
Well, she seems friendly.
Look, those are my goddamn candy bars. You take any more, I'll cut your dick off in your sleep. You got it?
Real friendly. The news announces the explosion at the chemical factory caused the viral outbreak.
It's gotta be the chemical factory.
The TV just told you that. Scott's trying to see how many zombies are around the building. Ix goes to talk to Jim and explains her name is short for Alex. I didn't realize Alex needed to be shorter. Ix opens up to Jim and tells him her whole family's dead. Something's trying to get in, so Jim and Scott go to investigate. The zombies using the Screamers Type 3 method.
Please let me in.
Once they figure out she's infected, they shoot her. The next day they're watching TV. Is this the only living reporter? On a shortwave radio, they hear the military is sending out supply drops for survivors. They hear the helicopters, so they rush out to see them.
They're too far away. They can't see the sign.
Overhead is apparently too far away. Scott goes outside and of course gets bum rushed by a zombie. Well, more like surprise hugged. Jim hits the zombie with a 2x4 that's apparently made out of graham cracker. Wait a minute. He's carrying a hatchet? Why didn't he use that first? He grabs Scott and they rush back inside. Don't get the hatchet or anything. I'll never understand why horror movies do this. It's not like the item's now useless. Ix passes out and they discover she has the diabetes. Scott tells Jim about the supply drops, so he heads out to find it and hopefully get some insulin. He makes a break for it and Scott clears him a path.
Headshot.
He finds the supplies and they have what Ix needs. Unfortunately, something found him too. Boom, leg shot? Jim takes the supplies back to the base and gives Ix the insulin.
So how do you know so much about this stuff anyway?
My fiancée Emily was a nurse.
Well, then you would know that insulin actually lowers blood sugar, so giving it to someone in a diabetic coma because their blood sugar dropped too low would kill them. Even though they did the wrong thing, Ix comes out of her coma. Jim goes to piss in the warehouse, and I'm pretty sure a building this size has at least one bathroom. He finds an open sewer drain, and one of the zombies made its way inside. They love to leave footprints. The zombie attacks Scott. Ew, get him off me, he's covered in shit. Great move, Julie. Don't give the guns to the guys. Take them and run upstairs. They barricade themselves behind the door, and now we're back to the beginning of the film. The zombie rushes in and Jim shoots it. Then Jim sits there all night with the door open, waiting for more zombies.
He's dead, Jim.
Why not move the corpse and barricade the door? Wouldn't that have been the smart thing to do? How's it laying like this anyway? Didn't it die sitting like this? He's falling asleep. Brilliant, Jim. A noise wakes him up, so they head down to investigate. Jim hears the noise again and goes into the main office. Okay, it's really the military. They shoot him and the others with tranquilizers to make sure they aren't infected.
Apparently, the chemical plant was the cause of all of this.
No! They found the group when Jim set off the beacon inside the airdrop. Since the group isn't infected, they let him go live in the quarantine sector. Jim goes to see Ix, and... aww. The movie was filmed in Mount Sterling, Kentucky for about $1.3 million. It was written and directed by Turner Clay. The warehouse they were staying in was Clay's Tobacco. I couldn't find out for sure, but most likely the building was family owned, so they saved a lot of money being able to film there. Either that or they rented the building and painted the director's name on it. This was his second movie after the action film Interception. The zombie angle must have worked well because he followed this up in 2014 with Disaster LA. The movie felt like a slower reimagining of Romero's The Crazies, mixed with 28 Days Later. Even though I called them zombies, they were really more infected, since the chemical from the factory didn't kill them, it just made them violent. They also seemed to have some intelligence. With the slower pace of the film, it might have worked better to have lots of slow-moving zombies, instead of the occasional runner. For example, in the scene where Jim goes to get the airdrop, it might have been more tense if there were dozens of zombies closer to the building, instead of a few random ones in sniper range. Still, it was an interesting slower zombie film from 2011, a time when zombies weren't completely oversaturating the market. It was a unique way of telling the story of a guy who lost his only friend, but after surviving the apocalypse, was able to gain 3 new ones. It's not something I'd categorize as bad, just something that could have been better. The directing was good, and the use of lighting, like in the beginning during the storm, was very well done, and did a great job of establishing tension. I liked that it was a more personal zombie film that wanted us to get to know the characters. It was also nice to see the military weren't the bad guys for a change. The biggest problem was every time they were in danger, it was because of something stupid they did. Jim left the door open. Ix didn't tell anyone she was diabetic. They didn't secure all the entrances to the warehouse. Scott ran out the front door instead of to the roof. Jim didn't kill the zombie when he had the chance. Despite the dumb things they did, Jim, Scott, and Ix were all likable and somewhat developed. Julie, on the other hand, well, she just kinda asked if they needed food once in a while.
Would you care for something to drink?
Asked him if he's hungry.
Say something!
Hi.